Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new video on the channel. Today I'm bringing my very late top 15 favorite movies of 2022. There were just a few movies that I hadn't been able to catch until recently, and I saw them, and now here we are. Now, as usual, these are just my personal favorites. This does not reflect what I think of the top 15 best movies of 2022, just the ones I enjoyed watching the most. And also, I will be leaving a couple honorable mentions down in the description below, because this past year was a pretty incredible year for movies, and a lot of really solid ones that I really enjoyed that won't be able to make the cut, and want to give them a shout out at least, so be looking for that down in the description. So, without further ado, I guess we should get into it with number 15, and that is going to be Smile. I haven't seen this one pop up on a lot of people's lists, but I really enjoyed this one. Thought it was super creepy, really effective. Had a really nice metaphor. Didn't really care for the ending a whole lot. I think it kind of sent mixed messages, and I was kind of put off by it a little bit, I would say. But other than that, really enjoyed that one. Number 14 is Steven Spielberg's latest movie, The Fabelmans. Yeah, I mean, as usual, great job by him. I mean, really well directed, some phenomenal performances, especially by the mother in the movie. Thought she was fantastic. And, yeah, you could tell it was a very personal movie for him, you know, being that it's essentially the story of how he fell in love with film, and, yeah, I really appreciated it. Number 13 is one of the biggest surprises for me this year, and that was Prey. The reason it was such a big surprise, I think, is just because I pretty much lost faith in the franchise after the last one. That was, what, in 2018, 2019? I don't care. It sucked. So I was really surprised when I saw this one. It was really well done, really tense. Loved the setting. And I hear they're going to do more Predator movies like this going forward. So I am very excited to see what they do with the franchise next. Speaking of franchises, number 12 is Scream 5, or I guess just Scream. Yeah, I thought this was a really nice tribute to Wes Craven. The meta commentary I thought in the film was brilliant. I thought it was as not as fun and witty as Craven's Scream movies, I think, but it did a really nice job at that. I think so, and love the new characters. I had some issues with it, with the writing and the direction, but overall, really good entry into the franchise. Number 11, a movie that just kind of came out of nowhere, but ended up being really awesome, and that is Violent Night. Yeah, basically you have Die Hard, but with Santa Claus, on Christmas, and, yeah, the movie just kicked ass. I really enjoyed it, and it instantly became one of my favorite, at least in my top 10 favorite Christmas movies. Alright, breaking into the top 10 here, with probably what was definitely the most controversial pick on my list. A lot of people hated this one, but I just really dug what they did with it, and that is Halloween Ends. Yeah, I mean, say what you want about it, with it, is it an appropriate end to the Michael Laurie saga? I just love the movie for really doing something unexpected, not doing the formulaic, the big epic final showdown, because we already had that with Halloween H2O, basically. And, I just really liked the way they explored the effect that Michael Myers had on the town, and with certain people in the town, and, yeah, I really thought it was a really great, unique entry into the franchises, and is definitely in my top 5 favorite entries in the franchise. Coming up with another horror film with number 9, that is Black Phone. Yeah, just really, really dug this one. Scott Derrickson has done some of my favorite horror movies, Sinister, Exorcism, Emily Rose, and um, now this one, great, great performance by Ethan Hawke as the grabber. Love the like Stephen King vibe the movie had to it, which makes sense because it was based off a book written by Stephen King's son. Um, yeah, great story, great characters. The little sister in this movie is probably one of my favorite characters of last year, if not my favorite. She was just hilarious. I loved her. Coming in at number 8, another horror film by one of my personal favorite horror directors, and that is X by Ty West. Yeah, I think most people probably prefer Pearl, but this film kind of goes along with what I love about Ty West as a director, and that's that slow building, atmospheric um, type movie, and I think this represents that a lot more than Pearl did. I really like Pearl, um, but this is why I love Ty West as a director. I've been a huge fan of him for years now, ever since I found House of the Devil on Netflix randomly, and that's in my top 20 favorite horror films of all time. And yeah, he definitely delivered with those two movies, specifically X. And yeah, after not doing movies for a while. Number 7 is Glass Onion. I actually hadn't liked um, Knives Out that much until recently. I still think it's like a pretty solid movie. I don't think it's anything like super special. This movie, though, I really, really loved. I think it's superior in just about every single way. Um, I've watched it, I think, 3 times now, and every time I've been able to pick up on so many little things in the movie, a lot more so than Knives Out. So there's a lot more detail that went into this movie. I think so. And the characters, the dialogue, writing, all phenomenal, really hilarious. Cannot wait to see the next entry in the series. Uh, Number 6 is The Menu, starring Anya Taylor-Joy. For those who know me, know I am a huge fan of hers. Not just because I find her attractive; it's just because she's really great actress, and she just picks the most interesting movies to be a part of, and this was no exception. A really tense thriller, really great kind of commentary, really great humor in it as well. Yeah, just a really cool, um, unique, well-made movie that if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend, because I know it um, wasn't some like super popular movie from last year. Quite the opposite of my number 5 pick here, and that's Top Gun Maverick. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's number 1 on a lot of people's list for good reason. Um, I don't have any like attachment to the first Top Gun. I mean, I watched it for the first time like literally right after I watched Maverick, actually, and it's an okay movie, I guess, and Maverick just blows it away in every way possible. I mean, the story, the characters, the direction, what they did with the stunt work, with actually, not using much CGI and actually being up in the jets and stuff like that was something super, super impressive. Had a lot of heart and emotion to it. It's really, just really, really loved it, man. I can definitely see why it got the praise that it did. Number 4, movie I just watched today as I'm recording this, and that is The Whale. Now, if you know Darren Aronofsky as a director of this movie, if you know his work, he does some really depressing shit. Pretty much every one of his movies just makes you wanna curl up into a ball and eat ice cream. After watching them, and this was definitely no exception. Um, just a really complex movie, and not in the sense that you don't understand the movie. It's more in the sense of just the characters and the situation. And there's so many layers to this situation that you're just kind of, you don't know how to feel about things. And Yeah, super well made, of course. Brandon Fraser um, gives probably the best performance of the last year. He was fantastic. The makeup effects were fantastic. I had some scenes that were really hard to watch, but it's just a really powerful movie. Not one that I'll rewatch a whole lot probably, but
Hello there.
really, really, really enjoyed it. Uh, Number three, um, we have Robert Eggers' last movie in The Northman. Yeah, huge fan of Robert Eggers. The Witch is one of my favorite films of all time. The Lighthouse is also, you know, up there. One of my probably in my top 30 favorite horror films or so. Northman's probably my least favorite of his films, but that's not saying much. This film was so fucking awesome. Um, just so well made. Again, Anya Taylor-Joy has a role in this one. She's great, but um, just a super, just epic, gritty, just like Viking tale, and it's so refreshing to see a movie like this made today. Yeah, I know he's working on a Nosferatu remake, and I am absolutely stoked to see what he does with that. Uh, Number two. It's actually really close between my top two, but I think it'll become clear why I put them in the order I did. But number two is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Yeah, I'm a huge Del Toro fan, one of my favorite directors of all time, and this is one of my favorite films from him. I thought this movie was just beautiful. I mean, it stacks right up there with the original Disney movie for me, and I have a lot of love for that movie, and that really says a lot to how much I love this movie. It was um, just kind of dark at times, like had that dark fairy tale vibe going with it, like a lot of Del Toro's movies do, and yeah, the animation was beautiful. Just another grand slam from Del Toro. And number one, for those who know me, it's not going to be a surprise, but my number one was The Batman. Yeah, I mean, this movie was pretty much everything I wanted it to be. This really dark, gritty Batman detective story. Robert Pattinson is phenomenal as Batman, one of my favorite versions of this character. Probably my second favorite, right behind Christian Bale. Love his take on this, like, really um, depressed and traumatized Bruce Wayne, who really hasn't found his footing yet. Great story. The Riddler was awesome. The music is my favorite soundtrack for any Batman movie. Absolutely love it. Really, really beautiful movie. Cannot wait to see um, what they do with this franchise moving forward. So that's going to do it for my list. Tell me what you guys thought of my list in the comments below, and tell me what some of your guys' favorites of last year was. And like I said, there will be honorable mentions down in the description below. Without further ado, I'm signing off. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.